Interesting functionality that we have available in SQL Server is IIF. Now, often this would be compared to as a lightweight version of the case statement. But what this actually does, the syntax would be something like this. IIF, there's a condition essentially that needs to be evaluated. And then we can specify a value if true and a value if false. So I guess the difference here with the IIF is that it doesn't almost directly just reference a column, exactly the same as the case statement would, case when. It's slightly different, and we're going to look at some examples now, both just some hard-coded examples and using column values from the sample database. So first of all, to demonstrate how this works, you can type select, and I'll just call this or alias this output, this column output as evaluation. In SQL Server, we can select evaluation and the equal sign in order to then go in and create our column with IF. In other variants, you probably need to use the as keyword, always worth remembering. So I will say IF and can say, if, for example, if 50 is greater than 5, we'll return correct. If not, we'll return incorrect. There we are. Execute, and we get correct naturally because 50 is greater than 5. If we want to test this out, we could say if 1 is greater than 5 and execute, and we get incorrect. That would, so that the functionality is working perfectly. Now, another interesting way that you can use this, and I'll just use it with a hard-coded example because we're looking at the first condition or argument here is that we need to essentially evaluate a certain condition or expression here. So I'll say select, and I'll call this one here string match. Set that equal to if. Then we will say if, we'll actually compare some text, so we'll compare string. So for example, I'll say if test is equal to test, then we will add the next argument. If it's true, we'll say match. If it's not true, we'll say no match and just include a space here. So now if we run this, I'll run this just isolated here and execute, we get match because test, that string is equal to the other string. I could just type in a 0 there and see what comes back now. And no match. So that's actually really valuable functionality. It's quite lightweight in the way that we write it and the speed that we write it. So it's really good to implement with actual data within tables or column structures. So we'll look at the sample database that I've got here. Within my test database, I have sales orders. So we'll say select all from sales orders, reacquaint with the data here. So execute, and there's an order ID, an order date, a customer, a city, and an order amount. So one thing that we would commonly do, I guess, with the case when would be that we would specify if an order amount is over a certain total, then potentially we could apply a bonus, or we could mark if a customer end user qualifies for a bonus and an email could be sent or whatever. So we'll actually look at how we can use IF to implement the same logic. So select order ID, we'll just list out some of the core columns here. Customer, city, order amount from sales orders. So that should be fine there. We've got the core columns. Now what we want to do is specify whether a customer qualifies for discount. So we can use IIF. So I'll just call this qualified discount. I like to make my aliases as specific as possible, just a lot better for going back, collaborating with others, or just remembering simply what you were doing at a very quick glance. It's the same reason when using SQL Server, I like having the option to put the equals sign before the function that we're performing because we'll need an alias or it'll just show up as no column name. If I find if I've got a specific naming convention, the equal sign, and then move into the function that I'm performing, it's a lot easier to read. So I've got qualified discount, and what I will do here is just say if order amount is greater than 5,000, offer discount, otherwise no discount offer. So what this is going to do, we'll evaluate this order amount column here, and if that's greater than 5,000, we'll just note in a new column known as qualified discount that we're either going to offer discount or they're eligible for a discount, or whether no discount offer needs to be suggested because they don't meet the minimum spend requirement. So we can run this statement here, and we get the order ID, the customer, the city, the order amount, and whether they qualify for a discount. So you can see 5,250 is above 5,000, so they get a discount offer, same as 11,000, whereas 250 falls below 5,000, so that evaluates with IF logic to the third argument, which is no discount offer. Again, 25,000 clearly clears the discount condition that we set out. So in summary, IF, really nice to use, fast. If we're not depending on sort of more than one condition, it's really good to use. Very logical, very clean, and I would suggest you familiarize yourself with it.